What's up, everybody? Back to another episode of Straight No Chaser Cowboys podcast, the best Cowboys podcast on this side of the universe, the known universe for that matter. With your boy Hoop Jargon, Cliff, the host with the most, D Brown, and my guy JC Comey. Gentlemen, how we feeling? Good. You guys can unmute.
There we go. Feeling pretty good, man. See that. First off, man, shout out to the PV Panthers getting a big win last night. Yes, sir.
Had to represent.
Yes, I always got to show love. I always got to show love to the university that made me possible. So, but yeah, man, it was good. And PV Panthers did better than my LSU Tigers, but that's another conversation. But it is NFL Sunday, and the Packers are in town, man. I did a little driving around. Cheeseheads are everywhere.
Oh yeah, they travel.
But yes, sir. And I just did a quick little slide through the downtown area and a couple of spots in the burbs, and they are out in full force. So it should be an interesting day today.
Absolutely. JC, what you got for me?
A great football weekend, boys. Last week, a little bit of a disappointment, obviously, and just kind of dealing with the psychological quagmire that is being a Cowboy fan. There's just so many, there are so many aspects of it, in terms of just the way you watch a game and the way it affects your day and all that stuff, and the way you enjoy the media preparation and hype for the week of a game.
Right.
So is the anticipation there? Yeah, but, fear of the result. Again, worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, man, it's just so negative and detrimental, you know what I'm saying, to your day. So I'm going to get back into it, get back hyped up about it. It's an NFL game. We got the Packers in town, man. Let's dive right in.
Let's dive right in. Yeah, man. So JC is kind of hitting the nail on the head. Being a Cowboy fan, it's a lot of responsibility being a Cowboy fan. It's a lot of critique coming your way, whether warranted or unwarranted. So to his point, yeah, it definitely affects the way your whole week.
Like, they're not going to win another game. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are saying that locally.
Yeah.
I don't see how they win another game.
It's always throw the baby out with the bathwater with the Cowboys. Every week it's all the Cowboys Super Bowl ready or all the Cowboys trash. So it does, being the unofficial de facto gatekeepers of the Cowboy name and brand, it does get a little taxing.
It does.
All right, so gentlemen, let's talk about that stink bomb we laid last week. We were right that one team would score a lot of points. I didn't think we that ass whooping, 31-14 for the Bears beating the good guys. Now, I think consensus we did see that Caleb Williams was going to have a game. It seems like anybody who can throw the ball is going to have a game against us. That's just what's happening. So takeaways, gentlemen. What kind of things did you see with that stinker we laid last week? Not even scoring a single red-ass point in the second half. D. Brown, I'll kick it off to you first.
Man, so my takeaway, I always have buzzwords attached to different things, and my takeaway from that one is alarming. I think it's alarming that the secondary, specifically Dallas' defense, is really, really bad. Not only do they look disjointed, disconnected, it's just, JC, I thought back to when Rob Ryan was here and how historically bad that defense was. Was it 12, I believe it was? And Cowboys set all manner of records and points given up and plays and just that whole deal. And, Jadeveon Clowney is in here today, who gives you who knows what. The needle doesn't move a whole lot. I know we talked about him a little bit last week, but the takeaway from this last game, man, was alarming in that, unless Dallas balls out offensively, these games, as you look, down the schedule, these games can get ugly in a hurry.
Yes.
And literally, look as though they could be, 2 touchdown affairs before halftime, week in and week out, right? When you look at some of the offenses they're going to face, some of the quarterbacks they're going to face, it's crazy, man. I mean, it's the combination. I know a lot gets fed into not having Micah here. The pass rush was not nearly as evident as it was, even though Russ threw up a lot of yards, but they did sack him 3 times. They didn't get the Caleb Williams hard at all, and he had a career game, which is crazy. That's the second week in a row we've said that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a career game that he had, but man, they just it just looks really bad. And then offensively, man, to lose, obviously CD for what obviously would be multiple weeks with a high ankle sprain. It's just it's next man up. It's all the things, right? It's all the coach speak that you can come up with. But this thing looks it got really ugly in a hurry. And there's some strong words that came out of the start of this week from Shoddy. Literally called the defense out specifically. And we'll be interested to see, what he dials up. And then we've given him some giving some love on messaging and the team being connected to what he's putting out. Well, he's going to have to dig in that bag here going forward because he's without his big playmaker on the outside. And yes, I am. I've labeled myself as the consummate glass half full guy. The one sip I'll take from that cup as I throw it over to JC, man, is I like the fact that Javonte Williams is still doing his thing. If they can somehow find it in the run game and get some balance, can't turn the ball over. Is George Pickens, hey man, it's your life. You got to step up. Probably looking at a lot from Big J. Just all the guys. Hopefully Jaden Blue is matured, because they need a playmaker, man, offensively. But this thing right now, man, it's with the injury and the way that defense I thought looked even worse than it did against the Giants. It's alarming. So we'll see. And I don't like this matchup today at all. So we'll see what comes up.
All right, JC, what you got for us?
It's in addition to the way we watch games, or any fan of their own team watches their own team. It's what I talked about, the fear of last week, the flop. Fear of the flop. This one was I told you guys when everybody was picking the Cowboys, I'm like, these are just the kind of games that they lose. And another part of fandom is, when the Cowboys weren't winning Super Bowls all the time, okay, which that encompasses quite a few years now. What I would do as a fan would just pick somebody who's supposed to be so great and just hate on them, right? And when they lose to a team that they're better than, oh God, I'm just like full of glee. It's called Schadenfreude, boys and girls. Schadenfreude. Shameful, it's a German word for shameful pleasure.
Yes.
Okay. And like whether it's Notre Dame or whomever, seeing anybody flop, you know what I'm saying? Anybody get beat that's supposed to be all that, and watching and cheering that way because that the Cowboys are out of it, right? I'm not saying that now, although you could make the argument, but something that I've noticed, right? Like you would think, and I've seen this a few times, you would think with them working the Cowboys like they were, the Bears fan would be going apeshit. And it'd be loud and crazy. And I swear, I look at their faces in some of these wide shots, and they're like, yay, I think. Are the Cowboys this fucking terrible? Like they literally can't believe it. And then all at once, it's like, wow, this should be great. And we are beating the Cowboys, but these guys are lousy. Where's the real value in the win? It's a psychological way of watching a game. I mean, obviously opening drive, and scripts just get flipped in football. This was like the Texas Ohio State game. Texas comes out, man. They run left a couple times, and they're running over motherfuckers like Rodney Hampton. All right, it's on. Then they start, and they punt. Different game. Cowboys. That man, Houston, comes down, makes great special teams tackle. Boom. They're pushing the Bears backwards, right? Get a punt, get the ball. Javonte Williams comes out, is running hard, right? Then he breaks one, as we all know, takes to the sideline and loses possession. And I've said this so many times. We've talked about this games where you're about to score, and they get a turnover, and how it just feels so cataclysmic, even if it happens early.
Yep.
Right. Y'all remember a couple years back against Miami, right? They're at the 1, a 40-ounce fumble, right? And it's like, and they were kind of back and forth that whole game, but you just had a horrible feeling about it.
Right.
Right. And that thing, I mean, you want to talk about turning sideways quickly. Okay. Yeah. From that point on, the worst thing is, as DB said, in regards to how they looked, against the Giants. Yeah, man, they spread it all around. Not only were the slot corners confused, the boundary guys were confused too.
It was terrible.
Right? Like, it's like there was confusion to go around for everybody, right? And again, I'm looking at the game. Okay, I know you have no CeeDee Lamb, and okay, Dak was solid, whatever, until your boy Lucky Whiteheaded out when Pickens lateraled him that pass. Here you go, man. You take it. Up until that point, man, on the cool, Dak was checked down Charlie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where, we got to threaten somewhere. You don't have CeeDee. All right, but you still got Turpin. You still got Ferguson, who's really good, running those seam routes, those deep banana routes. You still got Pickens, who's an up-top guy. And they're just not throwing the ball downfield. Now, again, I'm not back there in the pocket. Okay, so in fairness, maybe the guys weren't there. Well, somebody needs to start playing to their paper, Pickens. You guys need to get open, period. And I respect him protecting the ball, but man, look, at some point, if you see this pattern, right? Check downs, drives floundering out, field goals. Oh, we're coming back. It's 14-3, we're coming back, field goal.
Yep.
Come back out, second half, right? And not only did you not get the field goal, you didn't get anything.
Nothing.
But it seems like after these field goals, the other team gets a touchdown. And obviously it's not every time that you play them out, but it just seems like at the critical times, right? At the critical times, the turnaround touchdown, momentum, and all that stuff that we talk about, But first and foremost, man, as we move forward, and I will land the plane, they've got to generate pass rush. And like Buddy Ryan used to say, well, if you send it 4 and they ain't getting there, send 5. You send it 5 and they ain't getting there, send 6. And on and on. As a player, you need to do something. Because after tomorrow, there is no tomorrow. At some point, man, we got to change the mix-up. Hopefully, Clowney will come in and help. Bland's supposed to be playing today. I believe that will help. Still a tough matchup for the boys, but again, they need some pass rush. You got to generate it somehow. Yep. If you ain't getting it with you guys, you got to blitz. Sorry.
Hey man, just well recapped, man. And forgive me, I'm a little under the weather, y'all, this week. So pardon me there. But this goes back to what we kind of been lamenting to, like what version of the Cowboys are we actually viewing? Are we viewing guys that can actually control ball games? And this is kind of, a big proverbial side, because we saw week 1 against the Eagles. We were seeing some shit that we ain't never seen. We coming out, drive 1, bam, touchdown against the defending championships. Drive 2, bam, touchdown. This is something we're not used to seeing. We're used to seeing more of what we saw last week, which was, I call these all the time field goals. I call those Cowboy touchdowns, right? So we're reverting back to those Cowboy touchdowns that gets us playing from a deficit. And to JC's point, if we're playing from a deficit and Dak's afraid to go upfield for whatever reason, then now we're looking like the same old Cowboys that's kind of trying to chip out games late. The same old Cowboys is putting up these lackluster outings, i.e. a team that nobody's afraid of, for serious playoff contention. And that's something that we need to figure out now. We can put it on defense. They put up 14 in the first quarter. They set the tone. And it seems like everybody sees what we see from the couch is that you go deep, they can't figure it out. They can't figure it out, man. You get a quarterback with an arm, you can have your way with the Cowboys. And we've seen that 3 out of 4 weeks. The only guy who didn't ball out in that regard was Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts uses feet and killed us.
Yep.
So it's like pretty much it's the quarterback show. You play against us, your quarterback is going to have his goddamn way. And we need to figure that out. And I'm glad Shotty called out Eberflus because, listen, man, you're the new DC. And every week,
that.
Pointing in a new way, huh?
I love that.
Yeah.
That he called him. I was like, hey, man, this ain't cutting it. I love that.
Yeah. That's something we talked about week 1 is that he spoke about accountability. So I'm glad to see it actually in practice instead of you just kind of hemming and hawing, kicking the can up the road. And before you know it, we're 5 and 7 and shit, talking about some big trade around the corner, some goofy shit like that, man. Like, no, let's start nipping this shit in the bud now because we talk about this all the time. This is only season 1 of 4 seasons. Right now, we are 1 and 3? 1 and 3?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Not horrible. Now listen, man. At the end of the day, now I know the Browns have a very, probably the best defense in the NFL. They beat Green Bay last week, so there's something to glean from that. We have one of the worst, so I know it's kind of blind faith. But my point is, this team can be beaten. The Browns are not a good overall football team, so I do want to kind of dive into some of the things that we can bring to the table to maybe give them a game. Mm-hmm. But I'm with y'all, man. The sentiment is pretty fluid. That we laid an egg last week. We look like more of the same. What we do again, putting up those Cowboy touchdowns, scoring when it doesn't matter. And then when it's time for us to, impose our will, we just can't do it. Dak won't not check down to the tight end play after play after play. Man, listen, that vanilla offense is not going to get it done, man. And like you said, I know CD's out, but George Pickens ain't nothing to sneeze at. Lucky Whitehead. Your boy Kevon Turpin, he's nothing to sneeze at. Like, well, where are all of this, the play calling and schemes that we kind of saw week 1 and 2? Well, why aren't you dialing these things up to get, to get them active, to get them going, man? That's a weapon back there, man. So I did want to land the plane on that as we go forward. And also moving forward, guys. Now, we're going to bring back something we've been doing every year except this season, and that is the much coveted Lucky Whitehead Award. Zen, if you can go ahead and cue that up, man. So if you guys don't know, Lucky Whitehead, okay, hold on, he got a presentation. All right.
Did I mess up the? Did I mess up the name of the graphic?
Yeah, it's Lucky. Close.
Oops. Hey, we'll fix it.
Kinfolk Larry.
How about we call him Lucky Larry from now
Lucky
on?
Larry.
I love it.
My bad, guys.
Work
I'll
on the
fix
fly,
that.
baby.
That's why we got next week. We got the Lucky Whitehead Award. So this is something we give out week to week. Generally speaking, it's the guy who like an unsung hero who comes up with a timely play. Because Lucky's supposed to be this gadget guy who basically Kevontae Turpin is for us now. He was supposed to have been that years ago. So we give this to an unsung hero or someone who just had a noteworthy play that probably won't get, the ESPN, conventional notoriety. I guess I'll kick it off. Last week, I ain't giving nobody shit.
No.
Nobody gets the Lucky. Now, I will retroactively give this to Brandon Arbery, because that kick again from 64 to tie the game was just ice water. Water.
No doubt. And then the winner.
Come on, Z. You giving the game away too quick.
My bad, man. I was trying to get you ready, man. My bad.
Yeah. So I give it, a retroactive award to our kicker with that major leg. Gentlemen, what you got? Lucky Whitehead Award.
Well, I'm gonna echo the one. Definitely. I mean, there's nobody getting it from that stink bomb from last week against the Bears. And if I was gonna go retro, I don't know how you give it to anyone other than Aubrey, man. I mean, to go out and nail that kick under those circumstances, from 64, like it was literally a practice shot, and then come back and then walk out there just ice water and nail it for the winner. Yeah, I don't know how else you could you could give it to anyone else, man. And again,
yeah,
there you go. When you see that, it's on and popping. So yeah, shout out to the most consistent, positively consistent thing is going with the Cowboys right now. I'll probably go with I would go with Brandon Aubrey, Dak, and then everybody else is kind of a hodgepodge. I would throw Javonte Williams in there because
Javonte Williams definitely there.
Because I did see a very weird stat, very weird positive stat that the Cowboys in this very young season are leading the league in yards after contact. Thank you, Javonte Williams. By a significant margin. But I mean, like I think I touched on last week, man, he's been tough. And if I would have a runner up for that award for that in that Giants affair, it would have been him for the lucky. Just if nothing else, for that huge run that looked like a give up play that he just didn't give up and ripped off. I don't know, 30, 35, 40 yards there in overtime. To help, set up some momentum there. So, we'll go with Aubrey for sure with at least a honorable mention to my man Javonte Williams, whom I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of each week.
There you go, JC. Anything you saw that we missed for the illustrious Lucky Whitehead Award?
I think initially, even though we had a rather circuitous way of explaining it, I'm with DB. It just didn't get to that point. You know what I'm saying? I mean, 0 sacks, and QBs are careering against us, careering against their defense. And I'm like, I'm already thinking ahead to Carolina. Was like, is this Bryce Young's coming out party? Right? Like, because on the cool, Micah terrorized Carolina. And that's why they were able to whip Carolina's ass. Micah terrorized them. They couldn't win. And now there's no Micah. And, we've seen this trend of cats careering out. So I guess that means Jordan Love's going to throw for 500 today.
He damn sure might.
Yeah, man. So, on that tip, it never got to that point. So, no award given. No vote for an award given by me this week.
No soup for you. I like it. Because don't nobody deserve a damn thing when you put up we didn't get our ass beat per se, but nah, man, not against the Bears, bro. Not against the Bears. Nah. So moving forward, and I like that stat that Zen just dropped. 4 Cowboy sacks are 28th in the league out of 32 possible teams. That is trash.
Yikes. Especially when 3 came in one game.
Trash. All right, so guys, so I'm gonna do a little something fun for you guys. Listen, I'm gonna give y'all a chance to put a little change, a little payola in your pocket. So I'm gonna drop a $5 cash app to our Cowboys trivia question. Again, something we used to do last year. We bring it back for season 5. So go ahead and drop that graphic real quick. It's what name the players in the illustrious 88 club. Zen, drop that graphic. You got 30 seconds. First one who drops it in the chat, I'll get your information and I'll bless you with that good old 5-piece for tuning the channel. All right, so I
Time's
didn't
up.
see it, but that's okay. Now, for those who don't know, the 5 members are going to be your boy Drew Pearson, going to be Michael Irvin, Antonio Bryan, Dez Bryant, and CeeDee Lamb are the 5 to grace the great 88 receiver designation. A lot of people forget about Antonio Bryan. Antonio Bryan was a baby Dez Bryant before Dez Bryant. People forget about Antonio.
He had a strong 2 years, bro.
Jackie Harris.
Huh?
Don't forget about Jackie Harris.
Jackie Harris. Damn, I'm over here messing up. Damn. Jackie Harris. Sorry,
The original 88 was a guy named white guy named Sellers for the Cowboys. He's the first. The first 88 was a white guy named Sellers. Caught he caught one of the touchdown passes when Roger brought the Cowboys back against the 49ers. This would have been it would have been either 70 or 73. I think it was 73 actually, because they didn't win in that year. They didn't win the Super Bowl, so I think it was 73. And it's a white guy named I want to say Ron Sellers, the first number 88, and of course the often overlooked Jackie Harris and Bryant, of course.
Well, if you gave us 5 out of the 7 total, it'd have been fine. But I appreciate JC for that touch up on that one.
I'm old.
Much appreciated. Yes, sir. Okie dokie. All right. So again, guys, every week we're gonna have a Cowboys trivia question. So it's a chance to put a little change in your pocket, a little something, get you a nice little cup of coffee. And as the weeks progress, i.e., the Cowboys start winning, I may feel a little more generous. So I might up the ante a little bit from week to week. All right. So moving forward. All right. So we talked about, that embarrassing funk against the Bears. We talked about nobody really stepping up to make an impactful play. And we know who we got coming to Jerry World today. So, gentlemen, let's talk about, our defense. Like, what can we do to neutralize, to stop? Will Jadeveon Clowney have any effect? Just some of your insights about, from what you've seen this season, what can our defense do to stymie, to control, to whatever with this Green Bay offense that's coming to town?
I'll jump in here real quick. I can't guarantee how quick.
Go for it.
Again, it was like just to kind of, and I just say that just to kind of pick up on what I was talking about in terms of applying pressure. All right, you're playing a damn zone back there. All right, you're going to have to get pressure. You're gonna have to bring some guys, man. Okay, at least 5. It's gonna need to be a steady diet of that. Of bringing at least 5 guys, because 4 are not getting there. You have 0 sacks, and pressures are just as important as sacks.
Correct.
It's really interesting that you notice that for the Cowboys had this incredible run with Diggs and Bland, and obviously Parsons was there, of creating turnovers. Mm-hmm. I believe they led the league in turnovers 2 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
That is done through pressures. They got plenty of sacks too. But last year, they had 50-something sacks, but they didn't have the turnovers. All right, so sacks are a great stat, a little misleading, but pressures, consistent pressures, that's what you need. And you saw what Cleveland did to them. It's just like Malik Collins, he's still in the league. Man, right. He's still in the league. He's getting a couple of sacks in a game. Right? Like they're tripling Garrett, right? Literally, they got dudes stacked up on Garrett, right? So other guys are coming off. And Garrett's actually still managing to get pressure. Now the Packers are down 2 tackles. Okay. We also know they lost their burner receiver earlier in the year, a little dude that just was lighting cats up, number 11, I believe. And so they've been beat up a little bit. The defense is intact, and obviously they held Cleveland to 10. Which, hey, it's an NFL team. It is Cleveland. You know the deal. But their defense is seemingly very healthy. The secondary is playing really well, man. It's really just the dynamic speed of that front 7. Okay, with Gary up front, obviously, Parsons to that mix. Their linebackers, McDonald and those cats, man, are fast as hell.
Yeah.
Fast as hell, man, and big too. Your man, Mike, number 7, 6'4", 245, and is a low 4'5" guy, right? I think that's quite. It's just they've been there for a few years, but they're all young. And Gary was a linebacker, and when they were playing the 4-3, and then last year they made the move to the 3-4, and the guy went on to perform at a Pro Bowl level as an interior lineman, as a down lineman. Playing 3 technique and 5 technique. With his hand on the ground. And again, as I said, that fits perfectly with their linebackers and with Micah. It's just a super, super fast defense. They're not seeing any ill effects of letting Jair Alexander go, who a couple years ago you would have said is, best corner in the league. So they've done a great job at retooling. Again, these cats, they draft super well. Okay. It's very Philadelphia-esque. They get your man from the Raiders, the big running back, the perfect signing.
Yeah.
Perfect signing.
Jacobs. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Jones turns 29. They're like, well, nice job, man. You can just go. We're going to sign this 25-year-old cat.
Yep.
Right? And he's a hammer. And we all know that they have tremendous tight end play. And LaFleur is an excellent football coach. The graphic that was shown that shows the Cowboys outscoring them, I think we all obviously know that is somewhat misleading. Okay. The Packers haven't really lit people up this year. Now, they've had a fairly rugged schedule coming in against some pretty good teams. I mean, they worked Detroit, but hey, man, Detroit's pretty damn good.
Yes, they are.
They just ran into Cleveland and their defense. Don't forget about Desmond Ward. He's one of the best corners in the NFL, man, and has been for a while. He's in his prime. It's Denzel, not Denzel. It's Denzel. Yeah, Denzel Ward. Excellent corner. They have an excellent defense. Cleveland does. And looking at this game, I just think ultimately, you're going to need a big special teams play, and you're going to need a turnover. And I'm talking about turnovers and special teams play that either score you touchdowns or lead to touchdowns. None of this field goal crap. Okay? None of this field goal crap. Not against these guys. Overall, before I throw it back to distinguished members of the panel, this has got a feel of, they've been not competitive against these guys. A couple years ago with CD, when they had him, blah, blah, blah. Different team, different time. I think my instincts tell me that Dallas will play a little better than people think, because right now we can't play a lick, not going to win another game, that type of shit. And I think Green Bay, stinging off a loss, will play better than they did in the loss. But something tells me that they won't play as great as everybody thinks. We'll get to predictions and scores later. But it could be closer than people think. We'll just have to see.
All right. I like that. D. Brown, what you got?
Following up with what JC just laid out, he made a couple of points that I want to touch on or just make reference to. One of which, man, you mentioned the GM and a great job that Green Bay has done of retooling, right? And there's certainly that move.
It's the old Redskins safety, I think, that runs it.
Right.
Mark Murphy.
Murphy, correct.
Well, okay, check this out. Real quick fun fact. Mark Murphy led the league in interceptions one year, man, in the 80s with 9, right?
Wow.
Somebody's couldn't even get a contract the next year. That's how crazy
things can be.
That's how crazy the NFL is.
Yeah, man. Well, he's doing a hell of a job in Green Bay, and that kind of speaks to what we're seeing and what we lament, in our commentary about the Cowboys following with the way that we do, is we often talk about, as we're doing right now, the matchups. This one we have particular reservation about because, if you match, what Green Bay is going to bring to the table, particularly offensively, really on both sides of the ball, this looks like a pretty favorable Green Bay matchup. But you touched on a point before I actually get into some of the personnel about it's kind of, to me, is like an overarching point. This kind of feeds into why we probably keep the Tums and the Pepto Bismol and the Rolaids nearby when following this team like we do, is because it's an extension of what looks like the weekly mismatch of front offices, right? That what we see played out on the field. Just some of the non-moves, and now here, obviously, this offseason, some of the actual moves that leave you, depending on how it hits you, scratching your head, punching your fist in the air, taking your bat to your old hoopty out in the driveway, whatever the case may be. But and there's somewhere along that spectrum, right? But I look at that, you make that point, JC, and I think it's a really good one. It's like, man, you just kind of see, because you want to see from the, your team, and for us, obviously, it's the Cowboys. You like, what does this thing look like? What is the theme? And if they're not in that contention conversation, which I think we can all agree right now, they're not. But what's the plan? What can we see working forward? And I'll reference like Detroit 3 years ago. Like, Detroit was losing games, but they were in probably 80% of them until I think they had some ridiculous stat where they lost, I don't know 8-10 games by 4 points or less, or last 3-4 minutes or something ridiculous. But you could see that thing progressing to what they've become. And that's the part that kind of leads to my initial point of being alarming about, getting week to week to these games. So I thought that point was interesting about the whole, GM and what Green Bay has put together. That said, the matchups, start defense real quick. Their defense, we like, how is Dallas going to attack them? How are they going to be effective over 60 minutes? And I got to think that, it'll be interesting to see. I haven't seen the list yet on who's active and who isn't, but they need guys that you got the proverbial guys have to step up, but they need a spark.
That comes out at 5.
5 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, that list comes out at 5 when you got night game.
So, hopefully, Young Blue is active this week. I haven't heard anything that would lead that he might be or not, but maybe he's active. But you need to play. Like you said, they need more. They need something more from QB1. I mean, this is one of those times where your $60 million guy has to find it, and it with his legs, or pushing the ball down the field more, trusting guys to make plays. Trusting the Tolberts, trusting the the Fergusons, trusting the Pickens and Turpins, or whoever the case may be. You got to trust those guys to make a play. You got to make some plays yourself. Tuck that thing and extend drives. Help your defense out, and converting some of those 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6s with your legs if need be. Somehow they got to find it with a run game and try to shorten this thing. And that's been a bit of a bright spot. I know we got some guys dinged up, and some guys out on the offensive line, but if they can somehow find a rhythm up front, and I'm going to speak to. Naturally, you can't talk about the Packers, obviously, with the big storyline coming in, which Micah. I think one of the ways you kind of help and get, from my perspective, you kind of offset his effectiveness is run at it. Let's see how bad he wants to be disruptive in that part of the game. And we've seen effective game plans over his time here, and I can name specific games where it was like, bro, I mean, that's exactly what they did. Matter of fact, I know 2 games in particular. It was like, where's Micah? And that was the Dolphins game and even Buffalo. They just turned around and just handed the ball. But a lot of those plays were running right at the side where Micah Parsons was lined up. So maybe, you see a little bit of some of that. I think the worst case scenario for Dallas is, particularly if he gets going early and gets back there where he's super disruptive, or Dak's running for his life, or he sacks him and the place erupts, because there's going to be a bunch of Packer fans in the stands. and then they get, Green Bay gets juiced off of that. Could be a long night. And it'll just be interesting to see, man, who finds it, who steps up. If Dak takes, unfurls the cape a little bit. I mean, because when you're the $60 million man, this is kind of what's expected, right? I mean, nobody gives a damn that the matchup doesn't look favorable. You got to find a way to win the football game.
Absolutely.
And if you're him, that conversation starts with you offensively. Man, defensively, I thought about you, JC. I thought about this for like most of this week. I said, this is a JC staple all day. Insert this phrase. Have some pride, boy. You know what I'm saying? You got to win a matchup, right? Yeah. If you're a defensive guy, especially in those trenches, man, you can come with all the football cliches you want. You got to whip that dude in front of you. I mean, it just comes down to a pride thing, in terms of getting those pressures like you talked about, man. Sacks are sexy, but pressures are the thing. And that's where I think they miss or will miss Micah the most is, he was a sack guy, no doubt, but he was just relentless, and just making guys uncomfortable, throwing guys out of their rhythm, making them, bring the ball down and not making the play that they could make. And that's where the Cowboys have really gotten their doors blown and guys have careered because they're super comfortable back there. Right, there's absolutely no pressure. The sacks are one thing, but to your earlier point, there's no pressure. So somebody's got to, have some pride. It's like, man, I'm going to whoop this dude in front of me. And lastly, on this part of the show, or this take, I want to see some more of the youngster, Ezraku. Let's run him out there, man, and turn that youngster loose. I mean, he was drafted to do that. He was drafted to create pressure. He was drafted to come off that edge, and you can't put pressure on the kid and replace Micah, right? I mean, you're talking about, one of the 2 or 3 best in all of football at his position. So you don't want to put that kind of pressure on the kid, but you want to put that guy in a position to make plays for you because that's why the hell you took him in the second round. The kid did lead the nation in sacks. You've seen glimpses when he gets the snaps that he's able to get after a guy. You even saw it a little bit in the Bears game. He got a play upfield and forced Williams to, throw one out of bounds, run him up to the right side, man. Run him out there. Turn the kid loose and see if we can make something happen, man. But this is not a stand-pat deal because I think if you stand pat and if Jordan Love is comfortable with the way they work their tight ends in the seams, this could be the ugliest game of the season so far. Because now you've got Jacobs going off, you're working off play action, tight ends, which they work big time, are going up the seams, and he's back there with no pressure, just patting the ball. It's like, okay, let's go that scene. Let's go that scene. Oh, now they're back. Let's turn around and hand the thing off to the Hammer and Jacobs. So they've got to JC's point, they can't sit back. They've got to force the issue. Mix that up to bring a guy up the middle in the A gap, bring a guy off the edge, something. But what's been the norm isn't working. It's matter of fact, it's failed miserably. So change that up. Have some pride, win a matchup, and try to find a way to win a game that looks, I won't say unwinnable, but the matchup just doesn't look favorable. So, do what you got to do, man.
I love it. I love the take. And
Houston in there too.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Turn him loose, man. I mean, shit.
I'm very pro James Houston over here. We all know this. Find
that guy that gives you that spark, man. Find that guy that will give you that juice. I know Clowney was brought here to do that. He's a seasoned vet. He's got that pedigree. But I mean, Houston is a great reference. Houston, Ezraku, whoever, man. Find that kid. If it's that youngster, run him out there, man, and see if that's the guy that provides the spark. Let them career. Let them go find themselves today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sam Williams too. If you could play, man, now would be the time to go ahead and show us.
Right on.
There you go. And listen, man, and D Brown kind of crystallized my point I was going to make very, very ardently. He mentioned how the Green Bay Packers don't run a sexy style of offense per se. By the numbers, actually, their leading receiver is going to be Kraft at 169 yards for the season. So they like to pound their ball, use their tight ends to move those chains, and they are winning by 2 touchdowns when they are winning. 2 scores for that matter. So they can. So the point I'm making is they can control a ball game. And last time I checked, when you got 2 dubs against the Lions in the commodes, as JC would say, those are 2 damn good wins before you had that clunker against the Browns. So we're talking about a team that can punch you in the mouth and punch you in the mouth really good if you can't get to that quarterback, because they're gonna utilize that run game and they're gonna hit those tight ends on those seams. And then once you're weak like that, they're gonna go over the top. And that's something that we as the Cowboys are struggling in, is that we can't go over the top. I'm sorry, everybody goes over the top on us. Everybody gashes us like every way imaginable. People take advantage of us. And so now here's a stat line that's misleading about us. So we're currently number 4th in NFL in yards per game. So with Dak Prescott throwing over 800 yards, 72% accuracy through 3 games. And so and that sounds like, if you told me that at the beginning of the year, sign me the fuck up. Like if Dak is balling like that, but it feels a little 2020-ish. Because remember 2020, Dak was like MVP Dak that year. He was lighting the shit up. I think it was CeeDee Lamb's rookie year. Is that right? We had the 3 receivers. We had Amari Cooper, him, and
that sounds about right.
Yeah. So I think that was Dak's like.
Dak broke his leg, I think, was that CeeDee Lamb's rookie year? He did it in 2020. And when did CD came in 21, right? No. CD came in 20 because the team wasn't very good and he had a few drops. Yes.
Yes, but Dak lit it up one of those 2020, 2021 years. The year escapes me.
Oh, yeah.
So right now, Dak is looking like that by the numbers, but when you watch the damn football games, we're not controlling any football games, and that's the problem when you face these teams that have character, these teams that know who they are, and these teams that can basically control every down. So as we looking, the stat is great that Dak is looking good on paper, but how it's permeating to the actual product, we watched 3 games of it now. We ain't look good, really, except Philly first half. When have we ever looked, like we commanded a football game offensively? Right. So my point is, it seems like the rudder has kind of gone out a little bit. Now I get it. CD was out last week. You can't really, lambaste them too hard. I know CD's supposed to go today. So we'll see how ready to go he is. I know on the ankle sprain, been there, done that, wrote the book. It takes about a week and a half to kind of get back right. So ultimately speaking, the question still goes, can we push pace? Can we establish like getting Javonte going early and running it? And can we get back into that week 1 mode where we were putting guys in motion, making the defense guess, and just having our way, just whether we, we're quick out to Cavante and letting them go, whether we getting CD loose free and letting them go, like loosening that middle of the field, and then getting Pickens going. Can we get those things going? Because when we do have that going, we look different than I've ever seen the Cowboys in quite some time. So the question is, who's going to show up? And defensively, I just don't know. I just don't know, man. We've shown we can't stop no aspect of football consistently. So I don't know, man. I'm looking at a situation where can we just, like you said, can we roll our shit up and have some goddamn pride and figure the shit out?
Right.
Rely on tape that you've been watching all week, right? Stick to your assignments, even loose. Make a freaking cogent game strategy, and let's just see what we got out there, man.
No doubt.
They're sixth in the league against the run defensively, but that's not what got their ass whipped last week.
No, hell no.
That's for sure. I mean, they've been better against the run, limiting it. But again, as I said, that's not what got them beat last week, and that's not what got them in trouble the week before.
Hell no.
Correct.
And in fairness to Dak against Philly, he did have the drops. But yeah, it's no excuses. We need you to step up and be the man. And I think there's some good positive signs, that can happen. Obviously without Sedarian, that hurts. But look, you still have guys left. Okay, you still have guys left, that can get deep, that can handle possession stuff. Okay, Williams is running the football very well for them. Very well. He has been way better than I thought he would be. Now, again, seeing is believing. All you heard from the local media was, well, yeah, he's washed. He wasn't that good before he got hurt. Well, he looks pretty damn good to me right about now. All right, like that's what they need, and there is a commitment to it from Schottenheimer, and that's going to have to be the deal tonight. That's going to have to be the deal tonight, man. They're going to have to run at Micah, chip him, all that stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And they're going to have to stay with that run game, and they're going to have to piece together some drives, pick some spots to get Ferguson off. I'm thinking get him up on first down, little play action. Once you get that run going, get him up on first down. Get Pickens up on some short stuff, some crossing stuff. See if you can bust Turpin loose. On the good old slot corner route. You have to try some stuff. It doesn't have to be gadgety either.
I got a question.
They cannot not have stretch plays or deep ball plays. Before I go back to UDB, they cannot have any deep ball plays just because they don't have CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
Come on, man. Like these cats can threaten. All right. Turpin can get deep, not on a regular basis because he's not a big guy, but Pickens has downfield ability. Ferguson's a tight end with a little bit of juice.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we've seen Spoonmaker, make
exactly what I was talking
25, 30-yard pass.
Right.
It's going to be scheme on both sides, boys.
Yeah.
It's going to be scheme on both sides. I know you can't overhaul your scheme defensively, but you got to do something different, man. It's going to be scheme. If they have a chance to win the game.
You led right into my question for both of you, JC. It was like the perfect segue. So, in thinking about the attack, right? We mentioned how it looks pretty daunting that, the way Green Bay sets up and the way they work their tight ends in the middle of the field. I think Dallas can do a lot of the same thing in that you want to get the ball out of Dak's hand. You don't want to send him, in a 5-7 step drop and he's patting the ball a couple of times because, quite honestly, I don't really want to put that much pressure on that young line, right? Mm-hmm. But and you don't want to, just continuously just wow them to death with passes in the flat. But I think you may have some action with some double tight today, with like a Schoonmaker and
21.
Jake. There you go. Some good
That's
old
Big Rich used to say, get that 21 going.
21 going. Exactly. So do you think that Shotty, because Shotty's, calling the ball here. You think we may see some of that tonight in terms of, because Schoonmaker has been a surprisingly, solid playmaker when asked, when called upon. Jake's kind of been that guy. Jake's, I think, a little more of a threat after the catch. He may show some ability to break tackles, get downfield, some good old, classic yards after the catch. But Schoonmaker's been solid when he's been asked to make a play through the air. And I think it would be kind of behoove Dallas, like you said, to shake things up, given that they've lost CeeDee, man. So we've got to, we don't have that weapon, but let's use a little bit more of what we got and get creative that way. And, I think that's a really good compliment to using those tight ends in the middle of the field. And along with pounding it with Javonte, and that's the question I had for you guys. Do you think it,
21 keeps two guys on Micah on the outside at all times. If he's on the outside, you got 21 personnel. There's two guys on his ass.
Right.
You can run at him or you can throw, obviously. And I think that's something to look for now. There's also the thought that Michael will, with the absence of Booker and the absence of Beebe, that he will, flip to the middle. Okay, well, good. You know where he is. It's easier for a back to pick his ass up that way. And now you can do shit on the perimeter.
Right.
All right. You can do things on the perimeter now. All right. Now you can roll out a little bit, and there's more time to pick that quote unquote trash up, with the back on the backside. 21, the two tights, that's going to get two bodies on him, or at least one every single play if he's super, super wide. Right. And if he is, then that means he's giving the inside release to the tight end. And it's just the old term pop pass. Right. There's things you can do. Micah is a great player. He's a generational talent. No question about it. I will say that anytime you're in a class with Reggie White in terms of what you've done your first 4 years, man, you're pretty much on your fucking way. All right, I will give him that love. It's still, his chapter still has to be written, and I am sad about the Micah trade because I loved it when he played here in AT&T in DFW and was with Penn State, and he's immediately said, I want to come back here and play for the Cowboys.
No doubt.
I want to play for the Cowboys. I want to play in Dallas. And they showed him, you saw the draft night stuff. He's got the blue suit on. He says, it's got to be Dallas. It's got to be Dallas. And so you do develop a little bit of a relationship with players and so forth, especially ones that perform for you. But again, I think we've also seen that there's ways he can be negated. There's ways he can be negated. And I think D. Brown's right on with the 21, the two tights. Come on, man. I keep hearing about how, Spanford, Stevens, and all these other guys, are pushing, Ferguson and Schoonmaker, and about how you can use 40 ounce at tight end. Dude, okay, fine. So you ain't got no excuse to not run some too tight, especially with Micah out there and you having O-line issues. We need to see some too tight. Coach Schottenheimer.
Guess who else has an expectation picking up the big check? That would be Schottenheimer. So, hey, bro, it's time. You know what I'm saying? There's some accountability there too. It's like, all right, man, because this is a figured out, how to get it done, league. And
that's how come Blue ain't playing. That's how come Blue can't get no burn.
Right.
That's supposed to be about accountability. He's healthy. He's been a DNP coach's decision.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about is dead on. We just, we're impatient, man. We want to see this shit translate to success on the field.
Well, yeah, I think D. Brown, that's a great point. That amongst all this, for a guy who's an unproven head coach, we don't have a lot of smoke for Schottenheimer. We kind of parsed down all the things we diagnosed. We ain't really got on his ass at all.
No, hey, man. Look, and everybody can get it. This is the show where everybody can get it. So,
everybody is.
Hey, look. So
your ass can be on the gun line.
Absolutely. So to your point, Cliff, I think that grace period, that's over with. That's over with. Hey, man, figure this shit out. That's where we're at, man. Or you can get some more of this. I mean, because but when you sit in the head coach's chair, and the three of us collectively have we are junkies. I think I'm fair in saying that. And any kids, been a managerial situation, basketball, football, what have you. The guy that sits in the big chair. These are the situations where you earn the check. These are the situations where you show your medal. I think it's worked. Obviously, for our guy in Pittsburgh. I mean, he somehow he loses players. Situations look crazy, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? He figures the shit out. They keep winning year in and year out. Some bitches keep making the playoffs. Now, that's another conversation what they do. But they're in the conversation. He figures shit out. It's like you look up now and it's like, damn, Pittsburgh's 3-1. I mean, you look at guys like my man out there with the Rams. He loses guys. He plugs them in, McVay, and he figures the shit out. But hey, man, so Shotty, you waited your moment to be in the big chair. You've been in and around football, son of a legendary coach, well respected around the league by all accounts. But guess what? The spotlight is really bright now. This is why you have the chair. This is why you shared the same chair as a Mike McCarthy, as a Jason Garrett, and all these guys. You're in that chair now. So now when you get in that chair, expectation comes with it. Figure this shit out. Figure out how to beat these guys, and let's go with it.
It's a term we used to say in the hood that is going to crystallize your point all the way. Like, yeah, man, you're doing a great job, but fuck all the dumb shit. Let's go ahead and get it.
Hey, that's it, bro. That's it. Fuck
it's
all
time.
Dumb shit, man. That is it, bro. That's it. That is it in a nutshell. Fuck all the dumb shit. Figure that shit out. Head coach.
Hey, at Blue, all right, it's not like, it's not like he's Mozzie Smith sitting in year 3 of a, multi-million-dollar deal, chilling.
Right.
Hey, Blue, at that 5th round signing bonus, all right, look, man, a couple of summers in Addison and you'll burn right through that motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Okay. If the paychecks ain't coming in, bro, $215,000 don't go as far as you think. You know what I'm saying? So he can put that fear in him. And again, he's done it with Mozzie. Same shit. The money doesn't matter. It's just kind of funny to talk about. But yeah, man, he could put that fear, in a guy like a Blue. And
right.
Look, and we all want Blue on the field because he's so much faster than any of the running backs that we have. It's like, and they don't trust him to run back. He doesn't play. They don't trust him to run back kickoffs. There's a guy that could possibly run back kickoffs, because Tolbert, I mean, come on, man. This guy's no threat running back kickoffs. I understand they have him back there because they feel like he can catch it. I get it. They just don't have anybody else. And if Blue is not on the active roster, he can't be back there, much less help the offense. So, yeah, man, like you said, man, fuck all the dumb shit. It's time to play to your paper, Playboy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Time to play to your paper, man. For real.
I love it.
That's the long and short of it, man. So, gentlemen.
Not an insult, but a fact of life.
It is what it is, like they say. Well, so listen, man. As we end the show, I want to say y'all hit the like button if y'all been listening this long. Thank y'all for tuning in to Straight No Chaser, man. We appreciate y'all every week coming and listen to us speak. I'm a little down today as far as sick. JC, you seem a little down, but we gonna trudge through the mud every week. So I hope y'all appreciate that, man. I hope y'all appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Now, let's go to the final portion of the show, which is our predictions, and I guess I'll kick it off. I think we've kind of crystallized pretty ardently that this is not a game that we are predicted to win. I think we have a lot of unproven elements offensively to show. I think Green Bay is a team that knows who they are. That's the team that is methodical, a team that is not going to give the game away with mental mistakes and what have you. And I will note this too. Now, this is not a team that's been blowing the doors off people either. But if anybody going to get them draws away, it's us. So if I'm going to synthesize that all down in my own personal chat GPT in my mind, I'm going to have to say we're going to get our ass whooped today, man, gentlemen. I see Green Bay coming out scoring early, often. I see them controlling clock. So I see about a 34-17 outing today. And like Cisco say, I hope that I'm wrong. But hey, all I know is, man, it's Fresh P out there in Dallas. I don't care where we playing. Jerry's World, Wayne's World, The World.
Harlem World, all that.
What'd you say?
Harlem World, Little World.
All the world, you know what I'm saying? We can't stop a cold, and I don't see it stopping today. And again, I hope that I'm wrong, but I see 34-17, the Green Bay Packers.
No doubt. I'm gonna come here right behind you on that one, Cliff. I think they'll play it a little bit better, but I just don't think they'll have enough. I think the point you made about them being the Packers, that is, knowing who they are. I mean, let's be clear. The Green Bay Packers are a Super Bowl contending team. Mm-hmm. That's the expectation in Green Bay, and it should be. That was a team that was going to be one to deal with prior to getting Micah Parsons, and then when you add him to that mix that they had on both sides of the ball, the young, talented whippersnappers that they are, that's the team that arrow is definitely pointing up. Now, I still think the Detroit Lions are going to ultimately have something to say about that conversation of getting out of that division, but they ain't playing the Lions today. They're playing the Cowboys. And with that, I just think it always comes down to matchups. And ultimately, hopefully we can see some things that we could glean that are positive going into the following game. But I think overall on both sides of the ball, I don't think the matchups are particularly favorable. And I'm going to have a very Cliff-like score in that I think Green Bay probably scores a little bit more than that. I'm thinking more of I'll go 37-20 Green Bay.
37-20 it is. JC, bring us home.
I think you usually can get a pretty good idea, as Coach Landry used to say, how things are going to go, by how the special teams play and how they start. Oh, wait. Houston dropped homeboy at the 12 last week to start the game. never mind, scratch that. It's going to be an all-day sucker, man. And I have to admit, I have been a proponent of, the NFL, being, no crazy wild-ass football, no whole shit, no quick changes. I think the lack of continuity in football in general, I think we're seeing more of that at the NFL level. I mean, just some outlandish shit is going down, man. Like the other day, right, or last week, right, when it like 3 kicks were blocked, with games going on simultaneously within a minute of each other. I mean, it was just nuts. So I think it is more wild ass football out there these days. I have a feeling that, and I am wrong so much of the time. I have a feeling that Dallas will play better. I really do. Initially, I was going to go with Green Bay, Infinity, Dallas 1. They get the unheard of Rouge, Canadian Rouge. But I've since been talked off the ledge. I'm going to say 37-26. I keep sneaking these 26 scores in here, man. Let's go fucking hit at some point, right? 37-26. And I think that it may even appear to be closer than that. And so since I predicted it, just expect Green Bay to just light their ass up from stem to stern. But those are my thoughts, and I do kind of have that feeling. I think that I think they're gonna play a little bit better, man. And Green Bay may have hit, kind of a rough patch in the beginning of the season. Green Bay will still win, but I think it could be a very entertaining, compelling, and a somewhat hard-fought and highly contested game.
Hey, I like to. You give a score prediction?
37-26.
37-26. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, hey, listen, I like the optimism. At the end of the day, this is professional sports, man. Any given Sunday, man, you can figure it out, and you look like a whole different ball club. Because I know week 1, even though it was an L, we didn't expect to look that good. So maybe they can come out and show us something. Maybe they watching the show, so maybe they can take some points.
Indeed.
Execute. In about 4 hours the game. We're looking at kickoff. So, all right, Jimmy, good show, man. Guys, again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do that right now. Hit the like button if you're not done so right now. We'll come back next week. We'll talk about some of the wins and the L's from our predictions. And please feel free to hold us to account. Something we said that's just a little bit ill that you're not feeling. Hit us up on the video. Comment on it. And I got to say, D. Brown, I'm going to give you a little bit of reprieve. Jackson Dart is starting over Russell Wilson today. So when people were getting on your tail 2 weeks ago, who's laughing?
They won, too. They won.
And they got the Doves.
Yeah,
over the Chargers.
On any given Sunday deal, just went final. I'm looking at it right here. The Giants knock off the Chargers 21-18. And damn. Hey man, but I love it though. Like I said, I got a smoke addiction. So anybody that's got it, I'm here for it.
San Diego was playing pretty good too.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Chargers, LA, they've been playing pretty good.
They've been playing.
They ain't lost the game today.
That's a good win. That's a good win for the Giants.
It's their first win of the year, actually.
The Falcons knock off the Commanders.
All right.
So it is an any given Sunday thing. But yeah, I mean, like Cliff said, man, y'all tap in, y'all subscribe, y'all like, y'all talk about it. Tell your homeboys, hey man, you got these cats on there talking this Cowboys football, man. And sometimes they throw some wild ass cakes. Let's get on their ass. We welcome all of that. Come with it, please. Engage. Come get the real.
Bring your ass. And again, to end the show, the only football team I can depend on this year is my Prairie View A&M Panthers. Shout out to putting belt to ass to Grambling State. It just feels so good to compete every year now, because when I was coming up as an undergrad, boy, we was catching that issue. And before I was an undergrad and before. But it's a different day, goddammit. It's a different day. So go Panthers.
Right on.
All right, straight no chaser, y'all. Let's go ahead and do what we do. Let's toast it up.
Ta-da. Straight up chaser.
Let's go Cowboys.
Peace.